We are live. Hello, everyone who is tuning in. Thank you so much for being here. We are here today with Chanel of Digital Nomad Mums to discuss entrepreneurship, online business, travel, and then ultimately motherhood. So, I have been fascinated in these topics for a while now, and we are going to give people a few more minutes to kind of gather into the space. You can feel free to leave any like questions or comments in the comment section throughout this journey. And yeah, would you like to introduce yourself for now?
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, everyone. So, my name is Chanel Morales. I am an online business coach and I specialize in helping women to launch online businesses so they can have location independence and freedom and travel the world with their kids. I have a 12-year-old daughter and I took her out of school in 2018 when she was 8. We went traveling around the world for 3 years together. I was running my own business, so I had that freedom. I knew that I didn't have to be in any one location. So I just made the decision and made the jump, and the rest is history, really. It was the best decision I ever made in my life. I had amazing experiences, and she learned so much from the experience as well. So yeah, now here I am back in the UK, just preparing to go and move to Mexico, which is really, really exciting. So moving to Mexico at the end of the summer.
Yes, awesome. Thank you so much again for being here. Now, when you first started living this lifestyle, did you feel like there was a large community of people already doing that, or did you see a space for really building that community and building that support up?
So there was and there wasn't. So there was the digital nomad movement, which is usually young, free, single people traveling, working online. And then there were the world schoolers who were like the families, usually mum and dad. Maybe the dad was the one that had the remote job and the mum just took care of the kids. Or, maybe they both worked remotely, but they had that opportunity to juggle between the two of them. So there wasn't so much of the single mums doing the digital nomad thing. Now you will know my good friend Amoya. She had a group called Single Mums Do Travel, and there were some single mums in there doing that. That was a great group, and there were some single mums in there doing that. But a lot of them didn't know how to make it possible. A lot of single mums didn't know how to do it. So having that income and the time and the freedom for a single mum is really, really difficult. So there was a lot of people doing it, but not the same way I was doing it, and not as many women as and mums just doing it on their own, I think.
And how long again did you say you've been on this journey now?
So I started my first business in 2017. So yeah, 5 years now. Started freelancing as a social media manager, and then we left in 2018 to start traveling.
Mm-hmm. What inspired the 2018 leap to start traveling?
So in 2017, I was just starting my social media management business. I was working online from home. It was winter in the UK. It was cold. And I was sat there thinking, why am I sitting here freezing cold when I could be anywhere? Like I could be on a beach somewhere. It doesn't matter where I am. So I thought about it and I was like, I want to travel. I want to go sit on a beach in Thailand and work. Like, why can I not? And I just had this idea. And at the time, I didn't really know anything about digital nomads or world schooling. So I just started, Googling it, researching it, and realized it was a thing. There were people already doing this, which was amazing. And then I started discovering things like workaway and house sitting and how you could do it on a budget, and realized I didn't need loads of money because I originally thought that I would need loads of savings. I thought, yeah, I'm going to need to save for like 5 years before I'll be able to afford it. And so I had like a 5-year vision of when I'd be able to go. And it turned out that actually I didn't need to save for very long at all. In fact, I didn't have any savings when I left. I just booked a flight, one-way ticket. I had a lot of connections I'd made online. I posted in a lot of the world schooling groups, got offered places to stay around the world with families. I did workaways, I did house sitting. And so I was able to do it on a really, really tight budget as well.
Mhm. That's awesome. That's awesome. And how is it with schooling personally in your experience as far as educating your daughter?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is like a big question. Obviously, there's lots of different ways that you can go with this. So in the UK, you don't legally have to send your children to school. A lot of people think you do. You don't. It's your choice whether you want to send kids to school. And I think that's the case in most of the US as well. Some countries in Europe, you do have to send your children to school. But if you leave the country, then that's not really in their control, kind of thing. So we have to. I've got a little bit of cold.
No problem. Yep.
Keep feeling like I'm going to sneeze. So yeah, I realized I didn't need to send my daughter to school, and I took her out and started homeschooling her.
Awesome. So, as you were balancing working for yourself online from really anywhere in the world and then also homeschooling, how did you find, say, work-life balance, or like what did your average day look like living that?
Yeah, so in the beginning, it was really difficult because I was just starting my business. I was just learning about homeschooling, and I didn't really know how to have that balance. And I did get a lot of burnout in the beginning, especially we were fast traveling across the US. We were doing like 3 days in Boston, 3 days in New York. It was very exhausting. And then I kind of realized, actually, you know, she's learning a lot through the experience. She's learning a lot through just the travel. She's learning a lot about the history of every place we go to. We're going to museums. Like, I don't need to then be sitting down with her and forcing her to do these workbooks and worksheets, because she's learning as she goes through life. So that was one part of it. The other thing was, I realized that my business wasn't sustainable as a freelancer. I was having to do all the work and find the work and manage clients and manage, you know, everything. So whilst I was freelancing, I realized, you know, it's time to actually build an agency. So I started to build a marketing agency so that I could outsource a lot of the work to other people. And that's when I first started to have a lot more time. So I wasn't working all the hours. I was finding the clients, I was managing the business, but I was letting my team members do the work. And that was really the beginning of like figuring out how to scale a business, how to grow, and how to make money without spending all your time working.
Exactly. And are you able to go deeper into, I know a lot of people, they're more of a solopreneur bubble, and then they get to a point where they do want to collaborate for like personal or professional reasons. Can you speak on like how to really build effectively as a team while respecting everyone's time and wanting to be efficient but really produce great work?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the thing is, it's a mindset shift to go from being a solopreneur to a business owner. And a lot of people shy away from it because they're scared. They think, oh, if I have all these people working for me, I'm going to have people relying on me. It's going to cost me more. I just kept it really, really simple, in the sense that I didn't hire people. I didn't have like a paid team of people. I just had freelancers who agreed on a price that they would do certain things for me. And then when the work came in, I outsourced it. So then it wasn't like I was having to find enough work to cover costs or anything like that, because I think that can be quite stressful for people who are first starting to grow. So I think just keep it simple. Finding reliable people can be difficult. But when you find those good, reliable people, you know, stick with them, and just build that relationship between you of, you know, you want to keep them happy as much as you want to keep your clients happy, because then they're going to do good work. So I think having some kind of project management tool is really important, like Trello or Asana. Using one of those will really, really help manage time and tasks and make sure that you're doing all the things you're supposed to be doing for clients, and keeping them happy, and everyone knows where they stand as well. So I think, yeah, just keep it as simple as possible. Don't try and do too much right at the beginning, because I started like 7 people straight away and it was like really overwhelming and complicated. So if you are wanting to grow, maybe just start with a couple of freelancers to start with, grow that way slowly over time, and get things that are, you know, really desired by your ideal clients. So if you're already doing something, for example, I was doing social media management, a lot of people wanted Facebook ads because that kind of goes hand in hand. So that's the first thing I found, Facebook ads manager. So it's different if you're doing like, you've got a coaching program or a course, you know, you outsource things slightly differently. But if you are growing an agency and wanting to grow a team, then make sure it's the most cost-effective things, the things that are going to bring in the most revenue first that you outsource, so that you've got more income to then do more in the future.
Yeah, and would you say that process of finding the most important things to delegate, is that like looking at the numbers, or that's more, say, like a feeling tuning into it, or both?
Yeah, I guess it's both. I think it's important to know, like, if you know where your clients are coming from, or if you know your like most profitable tasks that you're doing, then it's usually those things. So it might be the kind of lead generation you're doing, how you find your leads. Maybe you want to outsource that, or maybe it's ads and you want to get them up to a high standard, or maybe it's your social media and you want to improve that and get someone better to do that. So it depends really on where you're getting most of your clients from currently. And sometimes it's that you want to do something different, you want to find a different way, like a new way of finding clients. So it might be that one way you're finding clients is working okay, but you want to do something else to broaden that. So it could be done that way as well.
Okay. And I'm also curious, as you're doing the work to figuring out what you would like to delegate, as you're freeing up your time to stay in your zone of genius, what would you say your particular zone of genius is when it comes to your work?
For me, it's definitely the actual coaching. So I moved away from the marketing agency, the social media management. I moved away from all of that because women started to ask me about how I was running businesses, and they wanted to know, they wanted help. So I started coaching, and that was when I really discovered my zone of genius, like breaking things down into simple processes for other people to understand and follow, helping people get out of their own head and seeing really simple solutions to complex problems, where somebody will be sat there thinking, I don't know how to figure this out, and they'll tell me the problem, and in 2 minutes I can tell them how to fix it, so for me, that kind of problem solving, being able to hear what someone's saying but really understand the underlying reason why they're having that problem, because a lot of times when people get stuck on something, it's not because they don't know the answer, it's some kind of mindset issue, some kind of limiting belief. So being able to identify that in people, I think, is probably my zone of genius.
Okay, awesome. And when it comes to your zone of genius, what would you say are your biggest influences on how to help people really shift their mindset blocks?
So I really just talk them through it in a logical way. So you might have like a problem or a belief or a thought, and I'll just be like, but that doesn't make sense, does it? Because of this, this, and this. Like, but that this equals this, so why don't you just do it? And then they're like, oh yeah, okay. So that's kind of how it works with me. I'm very upfront. I don't go around things. I kind of just say, yeah, but you're not doing that because of this. So why don't we just be honest with each other? This is the truth, right? You're just procrastinating because you don't want to make a decision because you're scared, right? And then they're like, yeah. So a lot of times people will come to you with a lot of questions they don't actually need the answer to. They're just asking questions because they want to procrastinate, or they want to avoid doing the thing they actually know they should do. So I'm quite good at just telling people when they're doing that.
That makes total sense. Yes, yes, yes. I'm curious if you can share a moment on your entrepreneurial journey when maybe you didn't feel like giving up, but say someone might feel like giving up if they were in that space, and then how do you best alchemize that to stay resilient and consistent in the work that you're offering?
Oh yeah, there are so many. So some of the key places where people feel like giving up is when they're choosing which kind of business to have, and they can't figure it out. They're not resonating too much with any of them. A lot of people want to give up then. And I would definitely say just do something, do anything, because once you're in the online world, you'll start to realize the things you like. A lot of people want to give up when it comes to putting themselves out there or selling, actually having to ask for the money. A lot of fear comes over people. They don't want to price themselves like high. They don't want to talk to anyone. They don't want to sell. They don't want to do lives. They don't want to put themselves out there. And that's another one of those things that's terrifying for everyone the first time they do it, the first 10 times they do it, pretty much. So it's one of those things you have to just grit your teeth and do it, you have to just do it, because if you don't, you'll never get anywhere in life. If you constantly give in to your fears, you'll never get anywhere in life. So with that, I definitely say just do it, because I was terrified the first time I had to go live. I was terrified when I had to do sales calls for the first time. I absolutely hated it. So for me, it's just about pushing through those hard times. And that's one of the reasons why it's really helpful to have a coach and have a community, because you can post in the group and be like, I'm really scared about this. And then everyone will be like, yeah, I felt exactly the same. And now I've got clients. I felt exactly the same. And now I love clients. I felt exactly the same. And now sales is easy, because it's one of those things you just have to do it and push through it. And then you'll get there in the end.
Yeah, I think I heard this phrase recently, like isolation is the dream killer, and I don't know who to like attribute that to, but that's resonating as far as you might be working really hard on building your dream, might be persisting, and then yeah, if you could just plug into a community to get support and feedback and like share your wins, share your losses in, I think that can be, I know that is so helpful in the journey, because there will be inevitable ups and downs. But yeah, in my experience, it's when the sales do start coming in that it's probably like dopamine in the brain, you know, it's like, I want to keep going. This actually feels.
Yeah, I think it's when the sales start coming in, that's when you really believe it's true. But also what you said about isolation. I mean, I always say to people, don't build your business in a bubble. That's what I always say, because a lot of people, they'll want to build their business alone without telling anyone, in their room, thinking of all the ideas in their head, never asking anyone, do you actually want this? Like, they don't do market research. They don't find out if people actually need what they're selling, and they just do it all on their own, and then they can't sell it. And the reason you can't sell it is because you never asked anyone if they wanted it. You never asked people, what do you want? What do you need? What are your problems? The easiest way to make money is to ask people what their problems are. And then whatever most people say, create the solution to that problem. Don't just make up something in your head that you think people need. Because most of the time, people don't know what they need, and they think they need the wrong things. So when you try and sell it to them, they don't realize they need that. And a lot of times when we try and sell the solution, we forget that people don't know the solution. So they're not looking for that solution. They're not looking to buy that thing because they don't know how to solve their problem, because they're not the expert. So you have to talk to people in a way that is resonating with the language they are using to identify the actual day-to-day problems in their life that you can solve with what you do. Like, I don't go around saying, hey, come and join my program and you can do market research and you can do sales. No one wants to do that, and they don't know that's what they need to do.
You can
If I
find
say,
your
come and
numbers.
yeah, exactly. If I say, come and join my program and you can quit your job and travel the world with your kids, people are like, oh yeah, I want that, because that's what they think they want. And then when they're in my program, that's when I give them what they actually need. So you sell them what they want and give them what they need, because they don't know what they need, because they're not the expert. You are the expert. They don't know what the answers are.
Exactly, and that reminds me of something else I've been reading, as to say, when we're children, we might have been told, you know, you can do anything you want to do, like, you know, follow your dreams, but then we might not have gotten that blueprint to actually get there. So it is that, you know, it's that inspired dreamer part with the concrete, this is how you do it blueprint, which I've been truly really enjoying studying different like structures and systems lately when it comes to business, in the effort of, you know, freedom, which is, you know, such a motivator, what I think people want, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, one of the biggest mistakes people make when they start a business is that they don't start it asking themselves the question, like, how much money do I want to make? How much time do I want to spend working? What kind of things do I enjoy doing? And this is why the foundation of my program is all those things. What do you want? Because if you set up, I actually did a post about this today. When I set up my first ever business, it was a party business. I bought a chocolate fountain for kids' parties. I bought a candy car, like a music thing. And then I realized I don't really like kids, and I don't really like working weekends. You know, I don't want to be surrounded by 5-year-olds. That is not my idea of a good day. And especially not on a Saturday or a Sunday when I could be with my friends. No, that's not my idea of a good day. So at that point, all I was thinking of was, oh, what's a good business idea? Oh, a party business. I could do that. I didn't think, do I like working weekends? Do I like hanging out with hundreds of kids who are hyped up on sugar? I wasn't thinking these things. And so when you are starting a business, be intentional about what you want from your life. What kind of things do you enjoy doing? I love the fact that I can work every day with pajama bottoms on. I don't work before midday. I don't talk to anyone in the mornings because I don't like mornings. I wake up every day naturally without an alarm. All of these things I actually created. I decided these things because I was intentional. I decided I wanted a business where I could make a lot of money working very few hours. So I chose something that was scalable, where things like product businesses, people who make things, they've got such a capacity that they can only reach because it's very hard to make lots of something in a small amount of time, and then you've got to sell them, and you've got to package them, and you've got to post them, and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of people creating these businesses aren't thinking strategically. They're just doing what they think is a clever business. So I think for me, that's a massive hurdle that a lot of people hit. They start a business, they realize it's really too hard and they've not got enough time and there's no way they can make the amount of money they want. They're doing things they don't enjoy because they didn't think about it beforehand.
Exactly. And then to also say, be thinking that through and working through what strategy will work best for you within community, and having coaching through that can be so much more beneficial, because that it might get into like that self-reflection work can go so many different places. So yeah, to be held like accountable for doing that work, and then celebrated and witnessed in doing that work is so cool, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm also curious, like, where's the coolest place that you have been?
Oh, that's a difficult one. So as I said, we're moving to Mexico. I'm a really, really big fan of Playa del Carmen for so many reasons. Like, it's very energetic. It's very multicultural. You can party there every night of the week. Like, I love Playa, but some people hate it because it is touristy. It's not like as bad as Cancun or something like that, but it is touristy. I absolutely loved Hawaii. Hawaii was amazing, but we stayed with this beautiful family who were other world schoolers, and they took us to these like secluded little beaches. Like, there was no one around. There was these turtles that lived in this bay, and they just swam around, and it was amazing. And I'd say my whole all-round favorite country is probably Turkey, because of the culture, the food, the people, the history. They've got like amazing ruins there. Troy is there. They've got the Cappadocia, the ferry chimney, underground buildings. Yeah, it's just an amazing country all round. But yeah, there's so many wonderful places. It's hard to choose.
What's your general travel style lately? Do you still do the speed travel, or you're going to be moving someplace now, but what's your general travel style like these days?
Yeah, so when we first started, I had not done no research because I'm that kind of person. I don't plan, I don't worry about things. I just book a flight and then I go. So I was like, yeah, we'll go to Boston, New York, Washington, did like 3 days, 3 days, 3 days, 3 days. And had a migraine. I was so ill. I was in bed for like the whole day. Because it was just raining. It was so tiring. It was July as well, so it was hot. And it was just, I was absolutely exhausted. So that was definitely not good. I was like, I'm not doing that again. However, every time we go somewhere, we always want to see so many places. Like, if you go to Mexico, last time we went to Mexico, we wanted to see Cozumel, wanted to see Mexico City, Oaxaca, Playa. So it's really hard for me personally to go somewhere and just stay in one place. I really struggle. So I'd say we still traveled a bit too much in Mexico. We were only there for 5 weeks and we went to like 4 places. We probably should have just gone to maybe 2 places. But it is what it is. So I think now that Mexico is my base, I'm going to be able to do like some really cool tropical travel. So I can go to the Caribbean, or I can do other parts of Mexico or South America, and be able to do like a couple of weeks in each place. So I definitely like to do more slower travel than that now, but from like a different base, because I've done most of Europe. Being from the UK, we get to see Europe quite easily. It's very cheap, very close. So I'd like to have that new base now where we can sort of travel different part of the world.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. I'm curious, do you plan on keeping your UK base and then still like say travel around Europe from that base, or more like let that go and be, yeah, I guess I'm just curious overall like how we can hold real estate throughout the world and spend time in many different houses in many different places.
I've not had a UK base since 2018. I gave up my house in 2018, and I've not had a
Okay,
base here. So right now I'm staying with a friend.
gotcha.
She's got a big house, so she
Mm,
just rented me a room, and my daughter's best friends with her daughter, so they're in a room
mm,
together, and I've got my own room. And then before that, I was staying in I was staying with family. I stayed with my dad for a bit when I came back originally. We were in lockdown, so I stayed with family. Stayed in Airbnbs. So I just stay wherever. I really am like a complete gypsy. Like I don't need a base at all. I'm like
mm,
really happy with no home.
mm.
Like
And
my
like,
daughter wants a room. She wants her own space now. She's at that age,
mm.
but I am really happy being homeless. Like I like it.
Yeah, my philosophy is like if you're choosing it, then more power to you. But if you like, if
Yeah.
you don't want to be experiencing anything, then maybe like shift out of that. But yeah, I
Yeah.
feel you.
But when we
Hmm.
move to Playa, we are going to be renting long term. So we're looking for like a 12-month tenancy. So we'll be there. We'll be there for a year.
Mm-hmm. And how does that work for people who want to travel and say live somewhere for a year? How do visas work? Can you talk on that?
Yeah, so every country is different, of course. So you have to look at what your country, what agreement your country has with each country. So if you're in the US, it might be different to the UK. But for Mexico, you get 6 months as soon as you arrive. That's for US and UK citizens.
Mm,
Um, so we get 6 months when we arrive, and then if you leave the country and come back, you get 6 months again. But you can also apply for a 2-year temporary visa, so you can get like a temporary residency. So I might
mm,
get that. I'll see how it goes. But I am going to come back to the UK for Christmas. So we're going in
mm,
September, coming back for Christmas. That's less than 6 months, and then we'll
mm,
probably come back in the spring for a month or two. So
mm,
I mean, I don't know if I'll need to even get that because we'll probably leave the country, less than every 6 months anyway, for
mm,
trips.
mm,
And then, yeah, there's some countries that have open things like that. So I know with Albania, I think you get 12 months as soon as you arrive. So that's quite
mm,
popular.
mm,
Um, I'm not sure about the other countries now because of COVID, everything's sort of changed. So you have
mm,
to look into each country individually. But there are some countries where you can just rock up and just arrive and you get a stamp, and that gives you either 3 months or 6 months or 12 months. And then obviously some countries where you would need to apply, like Australia, Europe,
mm,
stuff like that.
mm. And when you're traveling, have you been meeting other world schoolers spontaneously out, like out in the world or on the road, or do you mostly find meetups online beforehand?
Yeah, so it's a mixture really. So last time we were in Mexico, which was a couple of months ago, we met up with a friend of mine who's done my coaching program. She's in my dream club, and we met up with her, and she'd just been to a world school meetup. So she had a bunch of friends who were world schoolers, and so then my daughter met all them and their kids, and so it's kind of like a network. If you meet one or two world schoolers, you tend to like them meet others, especially in a place like Playa del Carmen where there's loads of expats and world schoolers and digital nomads. Other places it can be a little bit harder to meet people because they're not necessarily hubs. But if you're
Mhm,
going to like the hubs where there's a lot of nomads and world schoolers, then it tends to be quite easy in their events and stuff. And I'm hoping to throw a Digital Nomad Mum event in January next year. So really excited about that. I need to get the dates sort of nailed
mhm,
down, but because I'm
mhm,
not there, I don't really know who to coordinate it with. But my plan is to just nail down the dates very
mhm.
soon and then organize the details, when that's a bit closer to the time.
Nice. Would that be your first in-person meetup, or do you do in-person things? Yeah, like how much of your work is online versus in-person work with people?
Yeah, so everything I do is online. We have had Dream Club meetups. We had one
Mhm,
last summer. So we've done a few like little meetups with my actual clients.
mhm,
But I've not done one for my big group, the Digital Nomad Mum group. But I thought that would be really fun to do. Like, I think we're going to do a 4-week summit. So it's going to be like
mhm.
4 weeks. You can come for as short or long time as you want. You can join whatever activities on, and there'll just be different things each day. There'll be like an itinerary, different events on each day. But last time we did a meetup in the UK, it was over a weekend. Everyone camped and we all stayed in the same place. And yeah, it was really, really fun. So yeah.
Nice. Have you been living more of a travel lifestyle your whole life, or has it been more since 2018?
So I've always had travel in my life. I went to Australia when I was 6. I moved there when I was 7. I lived there for 2 years. I've traveled to South America. I traveled around America. So compared to most people, I had a very long distance travel in my childhood. Most people in the UK just go to like Spain or Greece. But yeah, I was going to Australia and Peru and America. And so I think my family's very international. My mum's born in Peru. My grandpa lives in Australia. My auntie and uncle live in Australia. I've got family in America. I've got family in the Caribbean. So my family is very international. So I feel like to me, the world seems very small. It doesn't seem like scary or far away because I've traveled a lot and I know people in a lot of places. So I think for most people, where the world seems like really big and scary and like foreign, a lot of places to me don't feel that intimidating to go to because I feel like I've been, around travel most of my life.
And do you find that you work with people who say might have never left their hometown, or say never left their little bubble on some level, or do you find that most people you work with are rather well traveled?
I would say that most people I work with have traveled because that's kind of the thing that I talk about a lot is the travel. So people who have never left their hometown, although there probably are some that have worked with me, tend to not have that desire as much, I think, or they've not got that on their radar as much. So they're not necessarily looking for that. I think if you really want to travel, you will have traveled at some stage. You will have gone somewhere. You would have
Yeah.
made the effort to travel somewhere. I think people that haven't left their hometown probably don't want to. Otherwise, you would have gone somewhere. Even if it was just like a short trip.
Exactly. And do you find that people you work with have had their own business before, or not so much, they're just getting started?
Again, that's definitely a combination. So I've got women who have never had a business, who've never even thought about having a business, who've only ever had a 9 to 5 job, or maybe who haven't even worked, very young. I've had a couple of women in their very early 20s that have never even really worked. So there's definitely that side of it. And I love that actually, because it's easier to give someone the right information the first time and get them to do it the right way the first time. When somebody's had a business and they've not necessarily done it wrong, or they've done it a different way,
Yeah.
or they've had a different kind of business. So say if you've had like a product-based business, or you've had a business which is bricks and mortar, you're going to have different things in your head about what you should be doing. You're going to have different ideas about what business means. And sometimes that can be harder to break the barriers. If they've done coaching or they've done VA work and they've not been successful, and that's why they've come to me because they need my help, sometimes that can be really easy because I just have to tweak a couple of things. Sometimes it can be harder because I have to help them unlearn all the things they were doing wrong, and then teach them again. So yeah, it's a combination. I much prefer people who've never had a business. I find it much easier to work with people who are in corporate. They've never had a job. Never had a business, sorry, only ever had a job, and they know nothing about business, because then I can literally just say, this is how you do it, and then they do it my way, and then they get the results, and it's a lot easier.
Yeah. And does your teaching come in like live course modules, or do you have books out there? Or like what is your teaching style of your strategy?
Yeah, so the Dream Club used to be a live group coaching program. So every Monday I would go live, I would deliver 1 hour of training, and then they'd have the week to complete the work. On a Thursday, I would do 2 coaching calls, which is where we would discuss things and then ask me questions. However, I recently pre-recorded it. So now it's pre-recorded, so they get access to the online platform where it's hosted, but they still can have the Thursday coaching calls if they want to. They can do it just a course, or they can do it as a course and coaching calls. So yeah, with every week they also get a PDF workbook which has got all the details of everything I've talked about, so they don't have to watch the video like multiple times. They can just watch it once, and they've got all the notes there as well. And then they just do the tasks each week. They work through what they're supposed to do each week. So yeah, it's working really well so far. 4 years
Nice.
in.
Yeah. Do you ever teach people, like, do you ever aspire to teach people where you travel, like locals, these like tools of entrepreneurship, specifically say women, to help empower them economically?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So one of the things I do is I have a scholarship for women in
Mm,
developing countries.
mm,
So if you join my 5-day challenge, sorry, if you join my free 5-day challenge, and you're in a developing country, and I see that you're really doing the work through the week and you're really getting involved, I do offer 1 or 2 people a free scholarship to join my program. So yeah, that's definitely something that I'm passionate about. I'd love to do something more with a charity. I did work with a charity beginning of this year where I donated a percentage of every sale I made to this charity in Africa where they help women with microloans to start businesses and things like that as well. But yeah, that's one of my long-term goals, is absolutely to set up some kind of training school in a developing country. That would be absolutely amazing.
yes. Thank you so much for sharing all of this. I'm also curious, do you currently also get coaching?
So right now I don't. I have worked with a number of different business coaches, mindset coaches, consultants, hypnotherapists over the last few years. However, I actually got to the point where I felt like I know as much as I want to know in terms of strategy. I don't want to learn any more strategy. I don't want to learn any more like how to build more funnels or how to automate this and that. I know stuff. I want to outsource that. And I've also just hired an online business manager and marketing manager. So someone to be basically me, what
Mm,
I've been doing for the last few years, minus the coaching. So
mm,
she's taken that whole role. She's like the strategic manager, all the marketing. She's going to be
mm,
taking over all the email campaigns, everything. So for me, I think people definitely, obviously, coaching and courses and programs are amazing. But one of the traps I see a lot of online business owners fall into is this like constantly buying new programs and constantly buying new courses. And
mm,
I believe like there's only a certain amount that most of us really want to do in our business. There's only a certain amount that most of us can do and want to do. And we reach a capacity
mm,
where we're just like, I don't want to learn every single detail of everything, you know?
mm,
That's when you need to be outsourcing it. And I've outsourced like tasks for a long time, but this now outsourcing the strategic stuff,
mm,
outsourcing the thinking and the forward moving of the business. For me, that's really, really exciting because that's somebody whose job it is to grow the business. That's all she's focused on. And she's like full time doing that now. So that's really, really exciting. And that's where I'm kind of at the minute. I actually do have a coach personally for my personal life, but not in a business sense at the moment.
What'd you say?
I said I do have a coach in my personal life at the moment,
Mm,
just business.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to repeat back, like, this outsourcing that you're currently doing in your business right now, this is not an overnight thing. This is coming from you being years deep in your business and starting out like baby steps, delegating little tasks before fully like stepping deeper into handing over different strategic aspects of the business.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, it's the best decision I've made really, to have someone from the outside
Mhm,
come in, look at everything that I'm doing and say, okay, we need to change this, we need to change that. And the person I've hired as well, she's worked with coaches that are at 7 figures. So I know she's got the knowledge, the inside knowledge of how to take me there. And it just makes
mhm,
so much more sense to pay
mhm,
someone who already has the knowledge than to try and sit there and take more courses and learn more coaching from somebody else to learn it myself and then have to do it myself.
mhm,
You're paying to learn it and then you have to do it.
mhm,
Whereas if you
mhm,
outsource at this level, you're paying someone a significant amount of money, but they're going to do it all for you and they already have the knowledge. They're not going to be wasting time. So for me, that was really exciting mindset shift of like, okay, it's not just about getting people to do tasks for you anymore. It's about getting people to be thinking for you and actually thinking for you as well.
And again, working in that way so that you can, well, I guess I'm motivated to do that so I can stay in my zone of genius. I guess, like, what really motivates you to do that? I don't want to like speak for you.
Well, I don't want to work very much, mainly. So, you know, my goal has always been work as little as possible and as much as possible. That's how I've always had that, you know, that vision in my business. And then I can focus on my clients. I can focus on the coaching. I can focus on improving my courses, putting better content out there for my clients. So if someone else is focused on growing the business, I can focus on what's happening inside the programs and make sure that my clients are getting the best service.
Awesome. And I'm wanting to ask now about motherhood, say for people who are not even in a place of starting their own business yet. Say they are fully consumed with child rearing or balance, yeah, motherhood with all this new concept of themselves as an entrepreneur, which in my experience does call for a lot of energy. You know, it's worth it, but it is really energetically demanding, say maybe more than being an employee right at the beginning at least. So can you speak on that energetic demand and how to balance that with motherhood?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I'm quite lucky because I didn't start my first business until my daughter was 8 years old. So maybe she was 7, actually. She might have been 7, but she was you know, she could do things for herself. I've got a lot of women in my program who've got babies and toddlers, and it's really, really hard. I don't know how they do it, honestly, because they're juggling like not sleeping, crying babies, toddlers pulling their hair, you know, all that kind of crazy stuff. And it is really, really challenging. I think the key is to keep business as simple as possible. You know, sell one thing to one ideal client at one price point, talk about that only. Don't try and have all these complicated things. Don't try and have all these fancy funnels. Don't build a website. Waste of time. Just focus on the thing you need to sell and the platforms where you can reach the people. So if you love Facebook, if you love Instagram, if you love LinkedIn, just go there, connect with lots of people and talk about your thing, talk about your life, talk about your story, talk about your vision, all that stuff. And don't make it super complicated. Don't put all these roadblocks in front of you like, oh, I need a website. Oh, I need a photo shoot. Oh, I need this. I need a certification. I need all that. You know, this is what most people holds them back is they're wasting time on things they don't need to do. You can literally just put yourself out there and just start selling your thing, you know? So I think if you've got small children, especially, keep it as simple as possible so you don't overwhelm yourself, because it's so easy to overwhelm yourself when you're, you know, in business and you're trying to do everything and you're a mum as well.
Definitely. And then could you also speak to, say, it's someone who has never managed lots of money before. How does someone shift almost on like a nervous system level to being able to bring in, say, like 5K months, 10K months now from anywhere in the world? Like how do we how do we let ourselves step into bigger levels of essentially power, you know, without being afraid of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I would say is it's definitely about a slow process when it comes to that. You know, I was terrible with money. I didn't have any. I'd never had any. So I had like money mindset issues where my money mindset was that zero was like where your bank account is. So when I made a lot of money the first time, I spent all of it within a month. Like I made like 10K and I spent it all and was back at zero. I'm like, how the hell does this keep happening to me? And even now I find myself doing it. But the difference is I have a really, really high amount of money that goes out of my bank account every month into a savings account. So I know if I just let all that money go into my account every week, I would spend all of it still, because that block is probably still there. You know, it's a very deep block. But I know that every month I've got this, every week, sorry, big chunks of money go out of my account into savings. So that was one of the first things I did when I realized I had this issue with money, was I set up an automatic direct debit to a bank account where I can't take the money back out. So it's just taking money every single week and putting it somewhere that I can't touch it. So that's a really, really good way of doing it, because it doesn't involve you actually having any control over it. You can't do anything about it. So that worked really, really well for me. And then having little pots for things as well. So I now follow something called Profit First. I'm not sure if you've heard of Profit First. But it's a really great book to read, or you can listen to it on audio. And he talks about how you should always take your profit first, rather than spending all your money and then having the profit is what's left, which is how they do accounting. You take your profit first. So when you get paid any money from your business, you take 10% and put that in a profit bank account. Then you take 30% and pay yourself that into your personal bank account. Ooh, you've frozen a little bit. So can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you take 10% and then what?
So you take 10% and put that in your profit account. You put 30% into your personal bank account. You put 30% into operations expenses and 30% into tax.
Okay.
So you've got 30, 30, 30, 10. And if you do that with all of your money, every time you get money in your business, you are always going to be okay, because you've always got your tax covered.
Yep.
And then you realize actually that making 5K a month in your business is only making 1,500 in your bank.
Yep.
So you realize that making 5K in your business isn't making 5K at all. You need to make, if you want 5K a month, you need to make 17K, around about that, right? Because you want 5, 5, 5, and then the other little bit. So for me, it was like a really great way of recognizing that when we're saying we want 5K a month, we're not being greedy, because 30% goes to tax, 30% goes back into the business, 10% is going to be your profit. So what we're actually doing is being sensible. And I think this can really help people with mindset shift when they think, oh my God, 10K a month, that's huge. It's not. It's $3,000 in your bank account. That's like a normal salary. So you need to set your standards higher. And as soon as you get that realization, actually 10K is only 3K, 10K is not actually that much, you can start to ask the universe for more money without feeling that sort of guilt.
Exactly. That's so helpful. And did you also find on your entrepreneurial journey almost like a haunting voice of, you should go get like a 9-to-5 job. It's so safe. It's so practical.
Never, absolutely never in my life.
Yeah.
I would rather die.
No, I feel you so much on the mornings, like I'm not getting up early any morning for anyone besides literally my own self or my child. And you know what I mean? That in and of itself is so empowering.
Yeah, I know a lot of women have this fear, and a lot of my clients have this fear, especially at the beginning, when your income's not consistent, and then you see job offers and you're like, oh, I could go and do that. And, especially some of my really highly qualified women who've come from very well paid work, and they know they could go back into that in a second. It's really easy to be tempted by that. But me personally, never, ever in a million years have I ever once been tempted to do that. I've been offered consultancy work. So like, marketing consultancy work, and that's been tempting. But even then I'm like, I know I can do it from home, but then I'm going to be tied to this business, and they're going to want like, results, and they're going to complain if things don't work, and they're not going to want to give me enough time to test everything. And I was just like, no.
Yeah, I think I saw your post a few days or a few weeks ago or something, saying you got offered what would have been your past self's like dream job, but then to your present self you chose not to accept that position. And I just thought that was so cool, as far as like the self-development that comes from entrepreneurship.
Yeah, and your self-worth, I think it's recognizing your self-worth, because it was great money for a normal person, but I was like, nah. I'd have to get dressed some days and go outside the house. I'm not keen. Yeah.
Yes. I guess just a few more questions. I'm curious, has there been all of the shifts that have been going on?
Sorry, you broke up a little bit then. What did you say?
Has there been a massive influx of clients the past few years with everything going on and people going more remote in their work?
Well, it's difficult for me to judge that, because I started my business, the first year was like 2018, 2019, and no. Actually, no. So I started 2018. I started coaching, but I was only coaching one-to-one. And it was the last, so it was September 2019 where I did my first group program. So that was like the last bit of 2019. And then I launched my next group program in November, got them for January, and then we went into lockdown with COVID and everything. So I only really did 2 rounds before that. And then my business grew very much in the 2 years, but I can't really judge it because it was new before. So I can't really say, oh, that's definitely the reason. But my business has grown over the last couple of years. Absolutely. I think there are more people. There was definitely people interested when we were in lockdown, when COVID was happening. I saw that a lot. But I think for some people, it's kind of done the opposite because some people are scared of traveling now. Some people who wanted to travel have now got a phobia of traveling. Some people thought they might want to homeschool, they might want to work from home, and then they did the distance learning with their kids from school while they were in lockdown, and they worked from home in lockdown, and they hated it because their kids were doing all these worksheets and it was really hard to juggle that, and then they were working from home full time. So now people have got in their head that homeschooling is that distance learning they had to do in lockdown. They've got the idea in their head that working from home is like how they had to work from home in lockdown. So I've seen some people saying that, now they don't want to do that. I'm hoping that in the next year, a lot of people will realize that the opportunities to travel are opening up again. You can go and sit and work on the beach again now, which is amazing. And so I think that again will, revive those people that were sort of thinking, oh, it would be nice to travel, hopefully thinking that again.
Definitely. And can you walk us through your like idealized work environment? Are you working on a beach? Like, what are you sipping on something? Like, what's going on?
To be totally honest with you, working from a beach is not practical. There's too much sun, the sand, the water. It's not practical at all. My ideal work environment is inside my apartment with aircon because I'll be somewhere hot, with a nice view. So in front of a window with a nice view, looking out on the sea or something like that. I don't drink when I'm working. So, I mean, I only work 2 days a week, so I can manage to not drink those 2 days a week. So yeah, I think for me, I work pretty normally, like how most people work, just normal, sober, at a desk. It's not that exciting, but it's only 2 days a week. And then the rest of the week, I do whatever the hell I want. And I go to the beach and I swim in the pool and I drink cocktails and all that and party. So yeah.
Do you keep it pretty separate, like your 2 days on and then the rest of the days off, or are you like constantly checking your phone, always on type entrepreneur?
So I only work Tuesdays and Thursdays, and that's solid. I mean, I definitely always work those days, unless I have like a week off or something. But sometimes I'll work a Monday or a Friday if there's stuff to do. Like if I've got things on and I'm not busy and I've not got plans, I'll do a bit of work, for example. But I do check my phone a lot, but I can delete Facebook off my phone if I want to. It's just that I don't because I'm a social media addict. It's not really so much I need to be, but I just do it. So yeah, for me, it's more about, I like having time off my phone. I do delete the app every now and again, and I'll go like a week without having it at all. But it just depends where I'm at, really, because sometimes being on social media too much can give you anxiety. It can make you feel, a bit stressed. So if I start feeling like that, I'll delete it off my phone. But if I'm in a good place and, I'll reply to questions anytime through the day, I don't find it hard work, I don't mind it. It's none of the stuff that I get on my phone is like stressful or hard work usually.
Yeah. And then I'm hoping you can tell us about like what are you working on now?
Oh, wow. I'm just about to do another 5-day challenge at the end of June. So I'll be doing my 5-day challenge again, which is really exciting. It's always really fun. Then I am planning the meetup next year for Digital Noman Mum's meetup in January next year. I've obviously got this new team member coming on. So we're working on a strategy to really scale the business and grow. And what else can we bring in? What other offers can we create? How can we reach more people, help more women? So yeah, it's just moving forward really. But for me, it's like moving forward while still only working 2 days a week, not being stressed, doing stuff I enjoy and having loads of fun.
Moving forward?
Yeah, sorry, moving forward whilst, enjoying myself and
Yes.
not being stressed and still working
Mhm.
2 days a week and having fun.
Yes. And what's the best place for people to connect with you?
I would say my free Facebook group, Digital Nomad
Mhm.
Mums, I'm in there most days and doing
Yay.
different things. Yeah. Or on Instagram, the Digital Nomad Mum in there as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I would love to just hear what you have to say to like someone just getting started, like final closing words of inspiration for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So just go for it. Don't ask yourself too many questions. Yeah, don't ask too many questions. Don't get in your head about things. Don't worry about what people are going to think. Don't worry about what you should or shouldn't do. Just do what feels right. Go for it. And if you need support, get some help. But yeah, just do it. It's so worth it.
Get support, get some help.
Just do it. It's so worth it.
Yes. And your 5-day challenge is at the end of June, you said?
Yes, it will be. Yeah, if you want to check out my free masterclass or the 5-day challenge, just go to digitalnomadmums.com.
Awesome. Yay. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. And again, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being here. I'm glad this aligned with your Thursday work day.
Yes, perfect timing.
All right. I will talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.